जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवराधारी जय गिरिवराधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवराधारी जय गिरिवराधारी जय यशोदानंदन जय व्रज जनरंजन जय यशोदानंदन जय व्रज जनरंजन जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज विहारी जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Kala Chanji Radha Kala Chanji Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtuki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 14, Text 31. Jai Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Shri Gaurnitai ki Jai. Savidivata Bharyayas. You don't have the... Tam nirbandham vikarmani natva dishtaya rahasi tayatho paviveshyahi savidit vatha bharyayas tam nirbandham vikarmani natva dishtaya rahasi tayato paviveshahi saviditvata bharyayas tam nirbandham vikarmani natvadishtaya rahasi tayato paviveshahi taviditvata bharyayas tam nirbandham vikarmani नत्वादिष्टाय रहसि तया तोपविवेशहि स विदित्वा तभार्ययास् तं निर्बन्धं विकर्मणि नत्वादिष्टाय रहसि तया तोपविवेशहि स विदित्वा तभार्ययास् तं निर्बन्धं निकर्मणि नत्वादिष्टाय रहसि तयाथोपविवेशहि. Anyone else? Or? Saviditva tabharyayas tam nirbandham vikarmani natvadishtaya rahasi tayatopaviveshahi. Saviditva tabharyayas tam nirbandham vikarmani natvadishtaya rahasi tayatopaviveshahi. Saviditva tabharyayas tam nirbandham vikarmani natvadishtaya rahasi tayatopaviveshahi. Transliteration. Saha, he, viditva, understanding, ataha, thereupon, bharyaha, of the wife, tam, that, nirbandham, obstinacy, vikarmani, in the forbidden act, natva, offering obeisances, dishtaya, unto worshipable fate, rahasi, in a secluded place, taya, with her, atha, thus, upavevisha, lay, he, certainly. Translation. Understanding his wife's purpose, he was obliged to perform the forbidden act, and thus after offering his obeisances unto worshipable fate, he lay with her in a secluded place. Purport. It appears from the talks of Kashyapa with his wife that he was a worshipper of Lord Shiva, and although he knew that Lord Shiva would not be pleased with him for such a forbidden act, he was obliged to act by his wife's desire, and thus he offered his obeisances unto fate. He knew that the child born of such untimely sexual intercourse would certainly not be a good child, but could not protect himself because he was too obligated to his wife. In a similar manner, however, when Haridas Thakura was tempted by a public prostitute at the dead of night, he avoided the allurement because of his perfection in Krishna consciousness. That is the difference between a Krishna conscious person and others. Kashyapa Muni was greatly learned and enlightened, and he knew all the rules and regulations of systematic life. Yet he failed to protect himself from the attack of sex desire. Thakura Haridas was not born of a Brahmin family, nor was he himself Brahmana. Yet he could protect himself from such an attack due to him being Krishna conscious. Thakura Haridasa used to chant the holy names of the Lord 300,000 times daily. Om Jnana Timrandasya Jnana Janashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yenam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So this chapter in the third canto is about the pregnancy of Diti in the evening. Just before I start, I only see two Krishna house students Do you all want me to talk anything specific in context? Or you all know about Kashyapa, the lineage of Brahma, Manvantara Manu? Are you all aware of that? Okay. Then I just wanted to make sure. So, just to understand this, that Kashyapa Muni obviously had many wives, and Diti was one of them. If we look at the lineage, Marichi was the father of Kashyapa, and Marichi is one of the Manasa Putra of Brahma, that who is born from the mind of Brahma. So Brahma had 10 mind-born sons and 9 from his body. So Marichi was one of them. And if we look actually, so Kashyap, if you look at the lineage, in one kalpa of Brahma is about 4.32 billion years. And in each kalpa of Brahma, there are 14 Manu cycles which come. And each Manu cycle is about 762,000 million years. And after each cycle also there is a Sandhya Manvantara, which lasts for 1.728 million years. And we are currently running in the 7th Manu cycle. So Swayambhu Manu is what we call is our, Vivaswan Manu actually, is what we call is our current cycle. So in one kalpa, which lasts for 4.32 billion years, there is one day and one night. And currently in the Chaturvya, what we say in Kali Yuga right now, we are actually in the 28th cycle of this Chaturyuga. So each Manu cycle has 71 Chaturyugas, and we are in the 28th cycle actually of this Kali Yuga, in that whole time bound. So just going back, so Kashyapa Muni obviously had many wives, and Aditi was one of them. From Aditis were born all the Adityas. So Diti obviously was also very eager to have children. Obviously she pestered Kashyapa Muni to want to beget progeny. As we read the previous aspect of this verse, that anyone who has a body has material desire, and so it is natural that as a wife, to see her own sister have children and beget progeny, she also wanted children. So in this shloka, what is described is the time of act. It is always said that every activity supposedly has an auspicious moment, and at the time when Diti wanted children to conceive with her husband, it was not an auspicious moment, it was dusk. So, as it is said that Kashyapa Muni was very, very elevated and enlightened. He knew that at the time of this activity, Lord Shiva's associates, the Ganas and Bhutas, they actually come at dusk and they roam. And what happens is, it creates not good omens for the consciousness. So Kashyapa knew very well. One question can be asked is, we know that the two children born at this time of conception from Kashyapa and Diti are Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So one question can be asked is, why, if Kashyapa was so enlightened, why is that he couldn't stop himself? The answer to that question is actually, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha had to take birth at that particular time and be conceived. As we know, Jaya and Vijaya were cursed to take 3 births because of their offense to the Kumaras not entering them. So the time of Cupid, or the desire to be coming even in Diti's time, at that moment with Kashyapa, is also actually ordained by Bhagavan himself. It is not a material aspect which has come. Because obviously, as we say, Bhagavan says, Lord Krishna doesn't, these kind of things in karma and cycles, rules are not broken. Like the sun rises in the east, it will set in the west. There are certain things which are bound to happen. So similarly, how that is predestined by Krishna, it is already, because Jaya Vijaya already chose, we rather be born as 3 births as your enemies rather than 100 births as your Bhagavatas. So obviously to also fulfill that desire of his Bhagavatas, he has to actually make sure that Diti gets that desire at that inauspicious moment. So that is the reason why actually it is said that it is not that Kashyapa is not enlightened. Unfortunately, even Kashyapa or any sage like Brahma is under control of Krishna. So when that happens, they cannot actually decline what, as we say in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna Mare Rakhe mein, whether Krishna can protect someone or kill someone. If that much of an activity Krishna can dictate, what is this? So that's the understanding from a deeper philosophical aspect actually. So as we see, in fact, Kashyapa Muni offers obeisances because he knows that by fate what he is going to do at this time is not actually auspicious. So he actually still is humble enough to offer obeisances to fate and the time of what he is doing and to Lord Shiva, knowing that it is not appropriate. Because there is also a duty for Kashyapa he has to fulfill as a husband. You know, there may be a spiritual duty and spiritual desire, but if someone is married into a Grahastha ashrama, we are not saying we should be a Grahamedi, but even as a Grahastha ashrama, even mental well-being or taking care of one's family is also considered service to Krishna. So actually speaking, it is not always people think physically, even emotionally or mentally one has to be for one's family. Actually, that is the most important thing as a Krishna conscious person. Whether as a brahmachari, grahastha or sannyasi or vanaprastha, whatever you say. Because as a Vaishnava, what we say, a Vaishnava cares about someone else's pain as their own pain and compassion. So one who enters a grahastha ashrama, neglecting, and this is again what Krishna says, right? One should not absolve from his karma, like he told Arjuna. Similarly, if someone is in a grahastha ashrama, you can't say that I ignore one's responsibility and do what I want. Unless, yes, there are certain circumstances which are ordained by Bhagavan himself and spiritual masters, but that cannot be just taken as a blanket statement. Like one example I want to quote here is one Dvaita Sampradayam, as Raghavendra Swami, maybe people know, as Mantralayam in India, right? He is again an Acharya in the Madhva Sampradayam. So he, of course, was the Grahastha, and his spiritual master wanted him to take sannyas at that time. But he, of course, was very learned and pious, and he had a child too. And he basically, his wife says to him that your responsibility to me is to take care of me. So what he does is, as a learned scholar, he takes his the verses which he reads in Sanskrit and he takes them and throw them in the Godavari river. And Goddess Saraswati herself comes out actually and basically gives him back to him, saying, I ordain that you take sannyas like that. So these are exceptional cases. Why I quote exceptional cases? Because exception cannot be the norm for ordinary person. Like the example of when we talk about the sons born of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu from Diti, in the verse as we go further, actually it is read that Diti, unfortunately, Kashyapa explains to her that at the time of this conception, you are going to have 2 children and they will be slain by Sri Krishna himself. But he tells that the children born from one of them, your grandson, will be very, very pious, and his name will be as glorious in the 3 worlds as Sri Krishna himself, as Bhagavan himself. So she feels a little bit. Now, why I wanted to quote this is a standard of, we say as devotees, there is a sloka which says that when Lord Narasimha slays Hiranyakashipu, Prahlada asks about liberation for his 7 generations, and Narasimha Dev says yes. But he says, for a devotee like you, your 7 generations are liberated. We quote this verse very normally to say, oh, every 7 generations will be taken. Is our standard as high as Prahlad Maharaj? We should first assess ourselves. That's what we should understand. Now that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has always said, Tranadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna. So, until we come to that level, to call ourselves, we use the English word devotee, or in Sanskrit we say Bhagavata, but we are all very advanced in a neophytic stage actually. A real devotee is someone who surrenders and doesn't worry about the future itself. That surrender is unalloyed love and unalloyed surrender without expectation. I'm sure in natural sense, just as a little joking way, if tomorrow Bhagwan calls right away, the first thing we will say is, where is our cell phone? We want to say goodbye to everyone. But actually, if he calls you right away, there is no question of saying goodbye. You have to leave and come. That is called surrender. Just like how Draupadi raised her arms, how Prahlada Maharaja felt that doesn't matter, my life is in trouble. If Narasimhadev Bhagavan wants to come from the pillar, he will be there to protect me. That's how we should be actually. So, it's an important aspect for us to understand, because surrender and humility is, of course, in all Vaishnava Shastra and even as Brahmanas it is preached, but it is a very key aspect. Like in this purport we see it says that Haridas Thakur chanted 300,000 times daily, but the essence of why that power is there is because of humility of Haridas Thakura. Without humility of that chanting will not have effect actually. That is the beauty of why the holy name is powerful. If we chant, why we say to not instruct a faithless person in glories of the chanting of the holy name, or to not have complete faith in chanting of the holy name. It's because we are doubting that potency and doubting the magnanimity of what Bhagavan is present as himself in the name. So that is the reason. So we see that as this chapter goes on, you can see that Diti says, actually I will read the shloka. She says, it is very good that my sons will be magnanimously killed by the arms of personality of Godhead. O my husband, may they never be killed by the wrath of the Brahmana devotees. So though she is very anxious, yes, her children will be slayed, but at least she is happy that they are only going to be slayed by Bhagavan himself, not by the curse of a Brahmana or by someone else. So that is why it is said that even we know Durvasa Mani, when he did an offense, right, to Ambarisha Maharaj, why committing an offense unknowingly or knowing. Unknowingly is different, but knowingly committing an offense is actually not very good, because it destroys the creeper of devotional service and it completely hampers future progress itself. And one should understand that people say, oh, with me, by offense we chant and everything is done. You cannot negate one and the other. Even Kashyapa Muni, in spite of this, he has to do prayashchitam and paschatapam for what at a time he concepts actually. So what we do also, we are initial stages, as all of us in the neophytic stage, we chant Krishna's name, and that purification is to actually surrender and purify ourselves, as we say, Namna Makari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktihi. So surrendering to the holy name, asking for forgiveness for our past activities. Anarabdha Karyan means activities which have not done pleasingly to please Bhagavan. For this life and for previous lives, we should ask forgiveness for that. Only when we surrender like that, then that purification comes naturally. Because, yes, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, but we are not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Acharyas that they chant in or they are Nitya Siddhas, they have come to just deliver us. So our goal should always be to chant with that humility, and that's why, as Prabhupada has mentioned here, is that Haridas Thakur used to chant and with humility. We know that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see Haridas Thakura in his final days, Haridas Thakura looked into Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's eyes, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, "What is your problem?" Haridas Thakura said, with tears in his eyes, "Mahaprabhu, I am not able to chant my rounds." That is what he said. That is called humility, actually. That not because of compulsion Haridas Thakura was chanting. It is out of love he was chanting for Krishna. That love should come after anartha nivriti. And only after anartha nivriti is go that love develops. And as Prabhupada has said, 99% progress of spiritual progress is chanting. Is actually that only. It is the chanting. And chanting is not as we say, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, there are 9 forms of devotional service, and different devotees or stalwart devotees of Bhagavan have perfected this in different way. Right? Some may do devotional service, and of course in the practical world, Bhagavatas may cook, may preach, may do different kinds of activities. But that shloka from Bhagavad Gita which says, Yat karosi yad asnasi yad johosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurusva madarpanam. That means whatever you do as an offering unto me. Think of me, as he says, think of me, become my devotee. That should what would be the goal of every Bhagavata should be. The other thing is, we say that as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu were born, obviously Bhagavan also wanted to establish dharma. As we say in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. So Prahlada Maharaj also obviously is a Bhagavata. To protect him, to have develop and set an example for faith for everyone else. So, some description of Bhagavan in Vedam is given. It says, Dharmagup Dharmakrit Dharmi Sadaksharam Sadaksharam. So, Dharmagup means the one who protects Dharma. Bhagavan always protects Dharma. It says in Sanskrita that Dharmo Raksheti Rakshitaha. That means Dharma, those who protect and uphold Dharma, Dharma will protect them. As we say in the traditional world, doing good and righteousness, somehow it will protect you. But this is all coming from our Vedic philosophy only. That is the reality of what we say. So Dharma, also Dharmakrit, which means he who induces his devotees to follow Dharma. Like as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the one who sets standard for, for common man to see. Even when Bhagavan came as Lord Rama or as Lord Krishna, yes, he breaks his vow, but he never goes against the rules of Dharma. That is one thing we can see. He will never go against the rule of Dharma. Will he take steps to protect his devotees? Yes, but never against the rule of Dharma. And also one we can see that he also practices Dharma. It is not like Bhagavan when he came as Lord Krishna, yes, he lived as a coward boy. Then from Mathura he went to, from Vrindavan he went to Mathura. And after that he went to to become a king, live in Dwaraka. But even in Dwaraka, he would do all the activities as a king is supposed to do from a dharmic way. So this is why in any, we say as different Swayam Avataram or Amsha Avataram or different forms of incarnations Bhagavan has taken, he always protects Dharma and he follows it. The other thing is, he also uses Dharma as an instrument. So we can say that Bhagavan always uses Dharma to punish those who have not following Dharma. Then also Sat, because for Dharma, it has to be eternally existent. Dharma is not something we call moralness or righteousness, is not something which is followed temporarily. So the key aspect of in any religion dharma is it is sat, which means it is ever existent actually. So without that, it is temporary. Something which is temporary will never have any standing. So that's why Bhagavan, when he comes, then we say sadaksharam aksharam. So which means he whose existence is never diminished or destroyed in any way. He who never forsakes the good. So these are some qualities of Bhagavan which come, which are actually imbibed in him itself. So when we see Bhagavan, we see Lord Krishna, we see Lord Rama, or we see other incarnations, of course depends on the, I won't use the word purity, depends on how much qualities which come into the avataram or incarnation or himself, one can see the purity and dharma right away itself actually. Like for example, even Vyasadeva is an incarnation, we say, of Krishna Vaipanya. There are other incarnations, Parshurama has also come, but it does not mean you don't see dharma. That is something which is always you will see. So we see this, that also asataksharam means that which does not exist now, but it existed in the past as what it will exist in the future. And he is the cause of misery to those who commit these kind of acts. So similarly, that's why we see in this shloka that for devotees, why we say that surrendering to holy name, surrendering to Bhagavan can help us, prevent us from deviating from these paths. Because without his shelter, there is no way. We will again go back to the suffering of dukhalayam ashashvatam. That is why even in this chapter, as Prabhupada has written, that why he mentions about Haridas Thakura. So look at humility of Haridas Thakura. I am not able to finish my rounds today. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and tells him, you have chanted enough. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. Enough you have done. But he is still not satisfied, Haridas Thakura. So he lifts, of course, the next day the pastime is such that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I have to go and finish my other duties, and he actually goes, and next day it is the time for Haridas Thakura to leave his body. So obviously what does Haridas Thakura do? He is happy to leave by taking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet in his chest and look at the lotus face of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and quit his body. This is how we should aspire at the time of how we should actually live. Of course, it is between Jivatma and a Paramatma, what is the way, how it happens. We can surrender because ultimately, as we know, we cannot cheat Krishna. We can decide to want to remember him. If we have surrendered sincerely, then he will come into our mind. Like in Varaha Puranam, it is said that after regarding, of course, his relation to this Hiranyaksha only. So when Varaha kills Hiranyaksha, of course, the purpose again of Varaha incarnation is to lift the earth, and obviously she prays for trouble because Hiranyaksha was giving. So again, Paritranya Sadhunam. So Bhudevi or Earth, Mother Earth asks Varahadev that you have rescued me, but what about all my children who are living on planet Earth? What about for them? After all, if you think about it, we are living on Earth. She is the mother. We say in English Mother Earth, but that's what it is. He has taken incarnation. So the shloka says, Stithe manase shushvate sarire yo nara dhatu samye vishwarupam cha mamajam tatasto maryamanatu pascha kashan sannimam aham smarami madbhaktam nayami paramam gatim. So actually, he says that if one in the normal state of mind, we can sincerely surrender. One should understand, sincerely surrender to his feet without expectation or anything. Then at the time when we are lying like a log of wood, about to quit our body, he will come into our mind to remember us. This is the assurance which actually Varahadev gives to Bhudevi, okay, or the goddess Earth, because he rescued. So we see that Bhagavan always is there. As also in Bhagavad Gita it is said, the unsuccessful yogi is always never going to fail. He is always going to start from where he is. So this is the summary of this shloka and the of this text of verses we see where Kashyapa had to engage in to create a progeny with Diti, which was unauspicious, but we can say that in spite of that, it was preordained by Bhagavan, and the essence of this is, if as Bhagavatas, doesn't matter as human beings, any plant, animal can chant Bhagavan's name, one can always protect himself from, I won't use the word fall down, it is from deviating from that which is unfavorable to Krishna. That's the right way. We all have karma, we all have preordained prarabdha karma. It cannot be just changed in a snap of a second. But what chanting Bhagavan's name gives is the strength to bear that if that happens. That is what it is. So, is there any question for you guys from Krishna House or other people? Yeah, Prabhuji. I thought there will be more students from Krishna House, but only 2 showed up today. So
yeah, a couple are sick.
Okay, they are okay.
Yeah, there's something going around the house, but so thank you very much, Prabhu, for the class. Kassapa Muni he's a devotee of Lord Shiva and an impersonalist, and in the case he wasn't able to control his senses when his wife was asking him for relationships. But Haridas Thakur, as a devotee of Krishna in Lord Chaitanya, was able to control his senses when the prostitute came to him. So Srila Prabhupada mentions that the impersonalist isn't able to control their senses as well as the personalist. And I was wondering if you could expand on that, like how that works.
Well, let me first say one thing. Kashyapa Muni, we can say as an impersonalist, but he is far learned. And the second thing is this, all of us, the lineage of Kashyapa Muni and everything has come, is all of us in this Manvantara are because of coming from that lineage only, from the 7 Saptarishis. Okay, so it is preordained, that's why I use the word exceptions. You're right. We can't say why I don't want to use this word as only impersonalists. If I were to say generally, there are many people who are in ISKCON and Krishna consciousness who have also abandoned and left away there because of senses. So we should not actually look down upon just saying impersonalists or this. I don't want to quote this publicly because the reason is there are many devotees who are there and they have abandoned it completely. Even some sannyasi have gone away. So, the truth is truth. The truth is, unless one is humble enough and surrendered, we can't just say only to this. There are many people, for example, who may not be Vaishnavas, but they are far more living a proper celibate life as well. So we can't just generalize this. It is wrong to generalize. Yes, holy name has absolute effect, no doubt. But holy name with chanting, then the question will be, some people will ask, is why so many of Prabhupada's disciples, they have chanted, but they have completely abandoned it. The question can be asked to us. A reverse question can be asked to us, right? That why is that they chanted so many years and all of a sudden they left? What do we answer to them then? It's a fair question, right? So, the thing is, you're right. If someone is only purely impersonalist, or then in that case, he may not be able to completely control his senses. But that does not mean that impersonalists do not live a sattvic life. There is a misconception. There is a very big misconception. I can tell you this, that a lot of people, we say the word, okay, there is a very big difference between even impersonalism, those who completely are impersonalists outside the Vedic philosophy, and there are those who follow Advaitam as a Vedic philosophy. Yes, it is considered spiritual suicide, we all know that stuff. But do you know that many of them are vegetarians by birth? They lead a sattvic life. They also follow 4 regulative principles like what we do. They do. So, to say that only, that's why I said there's a very big difference. In fact, why I use this is because Bhaunam Janmanam Ante Jnanamam Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samatma Sudurlabha. Not in one life one becomes a Bhagavata or devotee or surrendered to Krishna. It is a misconception. One takes countless births of human births. Krishna says Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Countless births. Now, you may go through human, you may go through plant. I might have become a plant, I have become an animal, I have become many things before, and then finally I have become another human and again come again and again. And then only I have come to this realization, actually. So, that's first thing I want to clarify. Yes, Haridas Thakur is an exception. We should never compare ourselves to Haridas Thakura. To compare ourselves itself is a mistake. Kashyapa Muni, you're right. He may be an impersonalist. We say devotees of Lord Shiva is impersonalists. This is a very blanket statement. It is not right, Prabhuji. I'm just saying in a general way.
I'm not using the statement. Srila Prabhupada calls them
I know.
impersonalists. And so therefore Srila Prabhupada says that the impersonalist cannot control their senses
Generally,
as well as a personalist. And that's why he gave it. So that's why I'm asking the
right,
question.
that-
I'm not making any generalization.
No, I know what Prabhupada
Okay.
said. I know. So what
I just
Prabhupada...
wanted to make sure that you, because it seemed like to me you were saying that I'm making these.
No,
generalizations and
not
stuff
like that. But
I
anyway.
just wanted to say I was repeating what
Sure. So Prabhupada also says, impersonalist Prabhuji, also you have to understand that, yes, if they are not chanting Bhagavan's name, then you cannot get purification. If they are only following principles and not chanting, then control of senses is not possible. Right? Because if you only chant, someone chants, say, I only want to merge with Bhagavan, then the point is, it's not going to be possible. They will again come back to the material plane. Those who are Bhagavatas and devotees who chant Bhagavan's name or at least follow the Vedic path, it is possible that yes, they are obviously going to be far more able to control their senses. But again, this is individualistic surrender. Individualistic means every Jivatma has his own path or time to progress. Right? Some devotees are able to chant and advance faster. We don't want to judge, but because it's a question. So what Prabhupada is saying is right. I'm not saying Prabhupada is saying is wrong. But at the same point, we can't just say that every person who chants Bhagavan's name is able to control senses like this. I mean, I have to use this example now. I have always been a vegetarian. I have never had alcohol in my life. I have no propensity also. I have never had it also in my life. Right? For some person who has done it before, it takes time for them to give up those habits. Holy name is all powerful. Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktihi. If one chants with complete attachment to holy name and detachment to the body, they will immediately give every anartha nivritti. But it is not possible for everyone in one shot. So, the answer is, Haridas Thakura is an exception. For devotees, it is correct. They can absolutely give up and purify themselves and they can absolutely control their senses. But I have to use this that some devotees are not able to. Then what do you say? Do we say, we don't doubt the holy name then? They are not sincere. That's the answer. Kashyapa, yes. But as I said, Kashyapa not being able to control is already preordained and predestined. It is predestined. Hiranyakaksha and Hiranyakashipu have to be born. And the only way to do it is they have to be conceived at that particular time. So there is no contradiction what Prabhupada has said and what Shastra is saying. It is exactly the same. So if devotees, they chant sincerely, they will get purified. But if they don't chant sincerely, then they cannot expect the kind of purification. It will take time. Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you for the class. I'm wondering, can you talk about what does it mean to be attached to the holy name and detached from the body?
Attached to the holy name and attached?
Detached from, you said one who is attached to the holy name and detached.
See, attachment to the holy name, to Bhagavan's name, we say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The attachment to the holy name is, it means everything, to every activity, every pastime, leela, everything, we are in constant meditation to serve. Chanting is a service. It's actually a seva. So, the attachment is not coming from material or bodily conception. So, detachment to body, which we say, for example, we all cannot 100% say, apart from few advanced jivatmas or souls, all of us have some kind of attachment to the body. It is impossible to say 100% will be detached. But the realization of detachment, the realization of detachment means that first is we are a jivatma. We have taken this body because of our karma, and anything associated now of activities we do with our body is only there to serve Krishna or be in Krishna consciousness. That is the way. Like Prabhupada will say that if someone says, I want to detach from an activity completely, right, then it becomes no activity at all, right? Then mind will become crazy. So only when we dovetail our activities and mind into Krishna consciousness, into devotional service, it will cause natural detachment. Means, for example, I wake up in the morning. Why do I take a bath? I have to be pure if I want to chant, right? If I want to go to the temple, I want to do service. If I want to sustain my body, we have to eat something to sustain our body, correct? So the food we eat is Krishna conscious food, prasadam. That is only to sustain and nourish our body, but only enough to maintain what is supposed to be. Whether doesn't matter, you have to eat good or more for doing work in the farmer field or whatever you have to do, that's okay, right? Everyone has their own stuff, and people have different choices also. So you have to sustain that. But that is not to, they say, eat to live, not live to eat. That's what I would say. So that is called a detachment. So we are alive, but to do service to Krishna, to serve Him. So after we are realized, initially that's okay, it doesn't matter. But now we have come to that stage of platform, we should get out of bodily platform thing. For many people who are completely having no concept of jivatma, body and soul, they think body is everything, we have to maintain it, we have to eat it. It means eat and whatever they have to sustain. That's it. Right? So detachment cannot come, and detachment only comes also as you chant more and more, we will realize there is a Paramatma inside us. Bhagavan is present inside all of us, actually. Actually, there is said that I wanted to just, in the 8th canto, actually it's a nice, I will just only read the shlokam, which Swayambhu Manu says actually. He says the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no beginning, no end and no middle. Nor does He belong to a particular person or nation. He is no inside or outside. So basically, He is always present inside us. This detachment of body means not saying that it's a decayable body. This body is given to us by Krishna. It is His. Now we have to utilize it for His pleasure. The moment you do that, you become detached. That is what Prabhupada has also said. Being in Krishna conscious means doing service unto Him. If you don't eat prasadam, you don't do service. You may have to do outdoor activity, you have a job, you have a, whether you work in an industry, doctor, engineer, it doesn't matter what you do. But as long as you do as an offering unto Him, then you will understand that you're not in a attachment phase. And as I said finally in the class earlier, when the time comes, you have to be ready to quit this body. How that realization comes, that is between each Jivatma and Bhagavan. It doesn't, and it cannot come artificially. If you try artificially, I mean everyone for us, it is all what Shastra has said, we will fail at it. Because the problem is, Bhagavan knows from within that until you are ready, He cannot. The joke is this: if you want to go to someone's home, you have to be invited. Right? So, if you are ready to go back to his abode, to Krishna's abode, he has to ready to take you, na? You can be ready. We are all ready right now. I can even say by lip service I am ready. But I am not going. Why is that? All of us can say the same prayer. The goal is to go back to his abode, to Goloka Vrindavan. Question is, why is he not taking us when we are saying it? Because we are not ready. Acharyas is different. Let's not compare Srila Prabhupada and other people. That is very different because the reason is, for them, they come with a purpose and only when the purpose is done, then they leave. For us, we have to be ready. He will determine when that time comes. But then the other answer of that is, Ashlishyava Padartam Pirashtumam. That ultimate surrender means, Prabhuji, that love for holy name, as you say, is whether you take me or don't take me, I will still be here. When we get that feeling, then He takes us back. And we will be happy to go back. So, to answer your question, Prabhuji, detachment of body means cannot be dovetailed saying, like some yogis want to meditate and do dhyana yoga. That is their purpose. In bhakti yoga, we don't do that. In bhakti yoga, Krishna says, or as our Shastra says, that we should dovetail ourselves to do Krishna conscious service. Only that will naturally cause detachment. Because Prabhuji, if everyone becomes detached, I mean, just saying us, there will be no temple, there will be no preaching, right? Prabhupada wanted us to distribute books. If there will be some people who want to do bhajan kirtan, who are becoming bhajan samadhi people, that is perfectly okay. That is their desire. But for all of us, if you are doing, then none of us would be here. Right? So, Prabhupada has never said, or actually no Acharya has ever said that detachment means completely sitting in a cave. That's why we call devotional service. Like, for example, a lot of people from Krishna house, they are doing service in the temple, they are coming here, right? They are going to UTD programs, they are doing kirtan, there are so many preaching programs, right? There are bhakti rikshas, we have a Sunday feast, people are coming. So that is called devotional service. Only by gradual activity we get detached. Not by, maybe there are not one person who can get detached in a snap of a second, but that is also done because of previous births, not in one shot. So the best way is actually chanting Krishna's name. That is the only way we can slowly get detached from body. That is the only way actually. So, any other? No, it's okay. Thank you. Yeah, Prabhuji, sorry. Here, yeah, go ahead. No, it's okay.
not look right, but it was supposed to happen. If I reflect upon that in today's time, and some people misinterpret these things, so they do the reverse engineering where they do a bad act, and they say it was preordained, right? So how do we protect this kind of philosophy to the practical understanding and not get misinterpreted?
Prabhuji, we cannot correct the whole world. Impossible. It's impossible to correct the whole world. It's very, very difficult. There will be people who misuse philosophy. Everything is free, right? We say books, what Prabhupada has given, for example, right? A simple example I'll give. People say that Lord Rama shot Wali from behind, whatever side, right? But there is a reason why it is said, why it is correct, right? Because he kidnapped stuff. But people also twist and turn all this from Ramayana and say, no, 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 he was like this is wrong, this is wrong. Correct? So, it is very, Prabhuji, you cannot control the whole world. I know your question is very valid. You cannot impossible. It's like this, right? Even if people, let's say, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come at that time, many people used to think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a madman, right? All other Sahajiyas and other people. That's okay, you cannot help it. Even today also, right? People look at Vaishnava movements and philosophies and say, this is not correct, this is not right. They say pastimes of Radha and Krishna, say, oh, this is all lustful. But what you can do?
But in the example of Kashyap Muni, I think that is the role he was supposed to play. And I think it went on, it did not just stop here.
Stop there. Well, actually, you have to. Actually, Kashyapa Muni also, he has other wives. He has Vinita, he has Kadru, the Nagas are born, Garuda is born. You know, if I keep talking about this, this will be never ending. Right? So,
Maru's pastime, right? And they were born with a similar Diti and
yes, correct. Maruts are born after that, because after this is exactly where Diti wants the children and Maruts come and Indra slays the womb and has 100 kids born out of it. Right? So obviously, you know, some things are preordained and destined. And one thing we should understand is, the Bhagavatam we see is only this much. I have told this before. It doesn't capture, okay, from in Kali Yuga we have gone 5,000 years, right? Treta Dwapara, I said this is the 28th Chatur Yuga in this Manu. Do you think every second, every instance of everything is captured somewhere? No. Only the gist and summum bonum of what is required to be known to us is captured actually. Right? It's impossible. Yes, it is there in the ether. That is correct. Someone is so advanced they can meditate and know that. But it's not there. So the point is, from the pastimes of what we see in the Bhagavatam and the Puranas and Upanishads, the essence is given. The essence. Right? Like, for example, Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavata capture, and other certain books written about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu capture his leelas and pastimes in this earth here. It is eternal pastimes. But they don't capture every second, every day, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to go every day when he was in Jagannath Puri, I am saying. Every day he used to go, every day they used to have kirtan, every day they used to distribute prasad every day. Do you know every time what all wonderful leelas, everything used to happen? We cannot experience. So in order to experience it, you have to elevate ourselves, quit our body and go back to his abode. Then we can participate in the eternal pastime. The essence is given to tell us. Because why? Again, I'll tell you why. Because spiritual world is infinite, eternal, ever existing. Our brain is finite and only this much time. So what Vyasadeva is also given is only this much for us to understand. Anything more than this in Kali Yuga this itself goes over our head. What else we can understand? So it's a good point what you are saying, Prabhuji, but there's only so much to say. No problem. Okay, Vrindaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.